welcome everybody to the front nine of round number 2 of the 2021 Down East Players Cup presented by Eastern Disc Golf and Disc Box. I am Brian Earhart, joined here yet again by tour champion and fellow lefty, Nathan Queen. What's up, my man?
Doing well. We've moved from West Meadowbrook Park out here to FarmVille. A lot more open course out here. Wind comes into play, and OB comes into play as well. We've got Dan Hastings, Corey Ellis, and Joel Freeman all with a tie for the lead at 9 down, and AJ Carey just 1 stroke back.
This is a card of shooters.
Yeah, Corey Ellis and Joel Freeman both have really big arms and sidearm, including a sidearm and backhand. Dan Hastings as well, not quite the same distance, but you don't need it out here.
What do you think about hole number 1?
Yeah, hole 1, 565 feet. This OB ditch on the right side comes into play pretty big. You usually have a headwind or a left to right. If you go too early left side, you won't be able to get through the woods very cleanly. But overall, if you can get 320 feet off the tee, you should have a pretty simple approach.
Now, Dan has changed up the shirt from the dinosaurs. He's made the adjustment, I believe, flamingos today. We'll see if they're a little less aggressive as the dinosaurs were yesterday. Beautiful opening drive.
Yeah, those flamingos might signal some one-footed putts here. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have a gander. We'll take a look. And Corey just might throw a hyzer to the basket. Who knows?
Yeah, he definitely has the power to do so. If he goes up over these trees, it's possible to reach it. He's not, though, and that came out a bit early. He may have still gotten far enough to be able to reach one of these gaps there.
And he's back.
Joel is back, matching the Innova banner just behind him.
That's next level sponsor representation.
Yeah, getting ready for hole 1.
And Joel has just been having a great stretch of the season. And like you said, he's got a huge backhand, huge sidearm.
Yeah, gets that way out wide, hangs it, trusts it over the OB the whole time, and he'll have a pretty easy pitch up there.
And here's another cannon of an arm. AJ Carey has been on the road all year, and he snaps the disc.
Yeah, another North Carolina native here. Probably happy to be back in the home state.
And that's got to turn.
And kind of the same mistake as as Dan. Oh, man, it was Corey that did that.
It's okay.
Here we are, AJ.
Oh, boy.
A little early here. Has some gaps through the woods, but not able to hit one. He's going to be in about the same position he just was now, trying to hit another gap. Little easier gap now.
Yep.
It looks like he was trying to play around that tree, not quite able to get it. He's inside the circle, though, and will have a par look. Corey with a small little gap here. Taking the turnover line.
That is bold.
And he gets up there for a circle 1 look. Joel going to try to give this a run. He likes these little touchy shots, but pulls it just a little bit wide to start the round. Again, inside the circle still.
And Dan has just crushed his drive. And a nice, simple backhand up to the basket.
And I'm pretty proud of Dan for that simple backhand. He's not, in the past, been very good at throwing those little touch putter shots. You can tell he's worked on that a lot, so way to go, Dan.
Especially somebody who has such a good sidearm, too. You can lean on just the chip shot sidearm for so long that you miss out on a pretty fundamental skill, which is exactly what you were saying.
And Corey able to connect on the putt, showing you why he has the #1 percentage in Circle 1 makes on the Disc Golf Pro Tour this season.
And we're probably going to see some of the same from Circle 2. He dominated the Pro Tour in putting this year. Little shovel putt. or the horseshoe as some call it.
Yeah, these are very mature trees out here. Large trunks on it. If you're in the center of them, it's pretty hard to get around. And this is a par putt here, so really wants to connect. And that's an impressive putt, able to will it in there. You know, that's not one that you typically practice. That's just trying to go off of the feel of how comfortable you are with it. So great par save.
Yeah, especially being in the woods, first shot, hitting a tree. He gets out pretty remotely unscathed there. All right.
Couple birdies, couple pars here on hole 1. Probably expect at least 3 birdies there usually. That brings us into hole 2, one of the tougher par 3s on the course, 395 feet. If you've got a 400-foot power forehand or the lefty backhand, that'll be the best play here. There is OB short right, and if you turn it over on the left side, there's a ditch that comes into play as well. And the swirly wind out here seems to have gotten a hold of that one and turned it over. He's in bounds, but over left side, and we'll be trying to pitch up to the pin for a par. And Corey correcting off of that. He saw that headwind or swirling wind kind of turn his disc over.
Flick!
And just smashes it. That's not the right word for a forehand, but that's the best I can come up with.
And Joel, no slouch with the forehand either. Loves those long flexes. This also looks good.
Yeah, very overstable disc right there. And just 2 incredible forehands.
Yeah, the shot that AJ has to throw is just so much touchier and so much more precise. Looks like he's going a Maverick.
You can see, I believe that's a Melvrick.
Yeah, Zach Melvrick. But still, hard hyzer out of the hand, drifting, and
that's in trouble of going in that OB. It looks like it just stayed safe. It was rolling back towards it. And yeah, like you were saying, you've really got to push it out to the left side and let it drift back right, which is tough with that swirling wind. You saw it messing with the forehands, turning them over. So trying to throw a turnover shot, it just makes it that much more difficult.
no problem for Dan. Easy 3. And now we got some birdie looks. Wow, 2 just gorgeous sidearms.
Pretty much some birdie tap-ins. These baskets can be a little tricky sometimes, but hopefully we won't see too much from here.
Could be jinxing it, who knows? Retroactively jinxing it.
And we're safe.
Not too shabby whatsoever. 395-foot snaking green, OB all around, and a couple of tap-in birdies.
And that puts Corey with a 2-for-2 start on the round. Trying to get something hot going. AJ with the 2 pars. And out here on a shorter course like this, you want to get all the birdies you can get. That moves us into hole 3, 376 feet. The area we're flying over right now is OB, and if you go in there, it's the drop zone just short of that. There's OB right and left and behind the pin as well. Once you get through that gap, just make sure that wind doesn't carry you off too far.
Corey going with a little hyzer release. That hit flat and just stayed there. What a shot.
Fantastic. Must be nice to just toss a little mid up, 376. That might have been a putter.
It looked like it landed like a putter. That was, and he threw it high too. Must be nice, Corey.
And you see the wind just pushing that disc down. looked great out of the hand and just got packed down with this very swirly wind that I'll probably talk about for the entire course.
I mean, it creates a level of stress during a tournament round that it's hard to explain if you haven't dealt with it. You're always thinking about it.
Standing on this tee pad, there is a tailwind. And as you see Dan's disc turn over to the right, he gets a good stop to stay in bounds. But once you cross through that gap, there is a headwind. And I believe that was going to be true for everybody. It's a very difficult thing to figure out.
And AJ starting off to the left side. As you saw, the TD allowed players to tee off left of the tee pad. And look at this hyzer. What a decision. Let's take a look at AJ Carey's form, the AM World Champion. Been on the road for the past few years. He is a powerful player, super compact. I love his footwork, how quick his cross step is. Park job.
Yeah, and you can see this wind picking up now with all the tall grass behind Dan. And just an easy little chip up. We'll have a circle 2 look here from Joel. Not quite able to get that disc to pick up or to float like you want to in the headwind, but now you can see it stopped.
And after throwing the mid off the tee, we get to Corey. And Corey's been saying quite a bit how much work he's put in the past year on his putt. And to be playing for as long as he has and to still be putting, the grinding hours in on the basket, it sometimes gets monotonous to just keep going and going and going on the practice green, but clearly paying off for him.
Yeah, 3 for 3 to start. Can't do much better than that.
No aces. He's completely failed.
And AJ getting on the board with a birdie after his park job. See you on hole 4.
Welcome to the shop.
Here we are with another par 4 in the 500-foot range, 512 feet. You want to throw it about 390 to get up to this gap here and then have a pretty simple pitch up to the pin. It's possible to run it, but a little downhill and it can get away from you a little quick. There is OB over on this left side, but it's fairly tough to reach, and Corey just ain't in bounds. He didn't quite get it as far as you want, but he'll still have a look into the basket.
And that's a better line from AJ. Little hyzer, pop up to flat, back to hyzer, and yeah. I can see this being a hole where if the wind wasn't as swirling as it is, players would potentially think about a roller. But roller and swirling wind is never a good option.
Right, and if you do have that 450 feet of power, there's a chance to get a low skip shot in. This is looking early from Joel, and if it doesn't make that corner, it is in trouble.
Yeah, that rough looks really thick.
It is.
Oh, it is.
Dan getting a good line on this, pushing forward. He'll have a decent angle for a forehand, I believe, into the green. And we may get that first circle 2 look here from Corey, right on the edge there.
Yeah.
Touchy, touchy.
That was nice. We watched Dan in round 1 kind of mess up a couple of routine forehands, so you can best believe he's going to be trying to really correct on that this round. AJ also throwing a good sidearm, and Joel is in Narnia.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be 4 for 4 on the sidearm up shots. Joel, however, doesn't quite have the room that everybody else had.
He's disappearing, Nathan.
And pretty decent shot there. He's still going to have a few things to work around, but it looks like he has a putt. He got so far into the woods off of the tee shot that it kind of opened it up for him. And he was pretty lucky to have the opportunity to even get a putt there by playing through the woods. So there is some OB behind this basket. And that could have came into play a little bit in Corey's mind there, keeping it low. You can see the flag there right behind Joel's foot. And a bit high left. That is a not the bogey you want to take.
Are you playing on a disc catcher right now? Is that what you're playing on?
No, these are actually the disc golf park baskets.
I see.
They got that really shallow tray.
I was gonna say they didn't sound like a disc catcher, but obviously they look identical, except like you said, the shallower tray. Chain configuration is just a tiny bit different.
Yeah, it's only got the one ring on the bottom, and it's a pretty big diameter. And AJ able to connect on the birdie for 2 in a row now. Catching back up with Corey. Dan looking like he's going to get his second birdie as well. Maybe 1 foot like a flamingo.
Give us the 1 foot.
Oh. Not quite. Pretty brave tap in there, but it does stay in. He gets the bogey. Hole 5, 325 feet. Another gap to hit off of the tee and then out into who knows what wind. But if you can hit the gap and move off to the left a little bit, float in soft, that's the best play. If you throw something with too much speed, it could catch a flare and skip into that OB.
And that's a beautiful gap.
And this is moving left. This is going to come into play with that OB and doesn't even have to skip into it. I believe it was mostly a right to left here, unless you caught it at that weird time where it was swirling.
Unless you caught it at the time that it was a straight headwind. See Dan, again, knowing he went out of bounds, wants to make the correction.
Yeah, he's throwing a faster disc. Going to want to throw it lower. Throws it further right, though, and catches a tree. Lucky to be where he's at now.
Yeah, I believe that was a Z-Flex Raptor that he threw. Kind of a straighter run of the Raptor. Limited edition one that he ran with another round disc golf. Ooh.
And Corey keeping this a bit too low and left. That's in danger of that OB, but it looks like he may have stayed safe.
That's tracking towards those trees as well.
Oh, and Joel does kick OB. Yeah, missing this gap. Not a good play, and he's missed it before he's outside of the gap. But that's an incredible sidearm right there.
Yeah, Joel is, I mean, he's amazing at flicking flippy putters and mids, and he practiced that shot quite a bit. Corey sticks a putter up there.
So 2 OBs and no birdie looks here on the 325-foot fifth.
They just need to make it 395 feet and a tougher hole, and you'll see birdie looks.
Yeah, that seems to be how it's gone before, so. And AJ catching some of that wind, I think, on that putt, kind of lifted it out of his hand and carried it off to the right. Corey with a good par save. Fortunate to not kick into the OB like Joel.
AJ still has 25 feet with the wind. No problem. It's going to be an unfortunate bogey for him, but plenty of golf left.
And a good bogey save from Joel there, being as far away as he was once he went OB. And taking a bogey on this hole isn't really going to feel that great going into the hardest hole on the course in hole 6.
Discover Greenville, North Carolina, where we put whole hog Q on the map and inspiration lives on every corner. Unplug for a moment of tranquility or enjoy one of our parks, fields, greenways, or trails. Then recharge with fresh, local flavors, one-of-a-kind art galleries, and toe-tapping music. North Carolina's Emerald City is filled with countless hidden gems. Find yours in Greenville, North Carolina.
And here we are on hole 6, the hardest hole on the course, 372 feet. Once you get to here, it's pretty hard to take this left and get to the pin. If you throw a perfect shot, you can skip up to maybe 30 feet or so, and possibly closer. Just a very tough angle to get right with all the trees on that hard 90-degree angle.
Wow.
And
Do you hear anything loud? Yeah.
Dan trying to prove me a little bit wrong, getting up there. No, he's still about 60, 70 feet there, I believe.
I mean, it just goes to show you how tough the angle is getting into the woods, because he almost sawed that off on purpose to get it to go so far to the left.
And Corey trying to do the same thing, but pulls it wide. Does kick forward, but also right. We'll see what kind of look he has from over there. This is looking like a good line, but moving forward too fast. Didn't get that turn to the left in time. Could be in some thick, but pretty close.
And I'm interested to see how Joel's backhand does on this. He really prefers the flex line, so I'm interested to see if he can get his shot to check up early enough and go left. And you see he is trying to go just pure hyzer, and it got through and actually worked out.
Yeah, that was a little early, but did skip up there. He's got that 70, 80 feet. And it looks like Corey does have a fairly clean line, having to get down a little bit so he can throw, but he gets right around circle's edge.
Wow, why are you so bad at everything? Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know if Joel realizes that he is a professional disc thrower, and he is absolutely not bad at everything, as he is on the lead card in round number 2.
And Dan, you kind of want to capitalize on those. This is the hardest hole on the course. It's not often you get a birdie look, even if it is from circle 2. And Corey with a rare miss there. Just a little bit low. He's going to take a bogey. Joel able to clean it up a little bit and get a par on this one.
As AJ takes his disc out of the basket, Corey will tap in an unfortunate bogey there, bringing him back to 10 under par total. Tied for the lead with Dan, and we move into hole number 7.
246 feet, throwing from out of the woods into the open again, so you're hoping it's that right to left you felt the rest of the time, but we'll see what happens. You've got this elevated green with the wall in the front. If you don't get over top and you stay close to that wall, it's a very tough putt. Pretty awkward.
And he hops the wall.
Dan playing the absolute perfect shot. No way he did that on accident.
Wow, what a fortunate result that was.
AJ getting it out wide, trying to go around that wall, and throws a pretty good shot. It's hard to check up at the bottom of that hill. It's easy to carry on past and have a scary putt coming back.
Wow. Nice try, I guess.
And Joel in the circle, not satisfied.
Joel comes from Colorado, and the player when he was coming up who was the best was also a perfectionist. Joe Revere, one of just the best players that I've ever played against, will be beating you by 10 strokes and still unhappy with every shot that he's throwing.
And it looks like Corey has stayed far enough off of the wall and is tall enough where it's not really going to affect him too much.
Nice try.
Great putt. Like you said, swirling wind, uphill putt. Yeah, Corey's got such a smooth, spinny push putt.
And Joel able to connect as well. Got one more putt here with a chance for the star frame on hole 7. Oh, and you can see it grab that wind and lift again, and he's kind of gone by that wall now.
Oh, so he's going to be thinking about that corner.
Yeah, he is not a straddle putter. And the raised green on hole 7 is going to bite AJ Carey here.
Oh, man, you hear that wind. Just an exposed basket, too. And luckily, Dan does not have to deal with the wind after ollieing over the wall.
We'll say he gets the flamingo hop up over there.
Yeah. Yes, flamingos have some serious bounce, folks.
Best word to describe the T-Bird 3 is consistent. Straight, just slightly stable. That's exactly what I get every time. Grabbing the disc and knowing it's going to be consistent. That thought popping into my head when I'm lining up that straight shot, that's the confidence booster. That's all positive reinforcement. This is the disc that I reach for, and if you want that consistent straight finish, grab the T-Bird 3.
Here we are on hole 8, 317 feet, kind of the opposite of the rest of the course so far, where you start in the open and then throw into a gap. Pretty straight shot with a slight left to right movement at the end. And less OB in play than the rest of the course. And a bit low out of the hand from Dan. Not quite what you're looking for.
And just hard flex. Looking
This
like
has a good
Firebird,
chance.
and
Yeah.
that is money.
Corey looks like he's going to try to throw a similar line here.
It looks like he's going Raptor. And same miss, and I believe that Dan also threw Raptor on that shot. Probably has nothing to do with anything, but I find it interesting.
I don't know, maybe that Firebird's the play. But AJ, most likely with a felon or a pioneer there, throwing his similar disc.
Seems
of
like
choice.
every company seems to have that slot filled at this point. All great discs. Corey with a long look from edge of circle 2, maybe even into the 3rd circle. That probably needs to start existing as we see how good some players are getting from 80 to 90 feet.
Yeah, he tried to drop that one right in there pretty close. Good bounce back from AJ after the 3-putt on the last hole. Able to connect for the birdie, get him back to 1 down for the round. Joel with the good birdie back-to-back after he had a bogey back-to-back, so starting to get back on track as well. And then a couple par tap-ins here.
That's a lie.
Couple of birdies, couple of pars, moving into hole number 9, 530. Nathan, what are we doing here?
Yeah, this is probably my favorite par 4 on the course. It's a very sharp angle off to the right. You don't get to move very far forward before you want to go right. If you don't get it turned over, or if you don't throw a sawed off enough forehand or lefty backhand, I'll say, then you can push that OB on the left pretty quickly. Once you do make that corner, you've got a line of trees guarding the basket for your upshot. And Joel trying to make sure that stays right, hits those branches high. Oh my goodness, he gets a roll OB over on the left, going back in towards 8.
He's going to have a nightmare about that one tonight.
Oh, wow. Bad shot, but very unfortunate afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, you're kicking yourself. That's your bread and butter shot. You know, there's all that open space. That's definitely brutal.
Wow. And where he went OB at, he's still 480 feet from the pin. He's not going to really have much of a chance to save his par. AJ, you can see, looks like he threw a good hyzer, but just pushes that OB line, stays in bounds. He'll be in position, but a little further away.
Is there room for a righty backhand on this hole?
It's pretty touchy. There's room, but you have to throw an anhyzer with something neutrally stable that doesn't fade back out, but doesn't turn over and cut roll on you either.
That's really just seemingly more important to just get right. And let's actually take a look at Dan's sidearm. And keeping the disc nice and low, getting the disc out in front of him. Dan's been known as a sidearm player, and he mentioned to me after the first round that he's trying to put some work in on the sidearm still. He's still learning new things. And Corey,
getting a little bit too far out there left. Just if that disc stands up at all, then it's pretty much going to go OB there. You've got to keep it on a hyzer the whole time.
reminds me of a very simplified version of hole 8 at Fox Run up in Vermont, where you have to swing the disc way up and to the right.
And Joel with a good shot there. Has a small chance at the par save, but still 80 feet or so away. And Corey going to have a tough time as well. He's not OB, but he'll be throwing 4 from the woods over there on the right. And AJ far enough back to take this right side. Couldn't tell if he got the skip after that tree or not. This is the play you'll see more often going on this left side. That last big tree, you want to either go in front or behind it. Dan's pushed it a little bit straight. He'll be about circle's edge. And AJ did catch that tree, didn't get the skip. Little pitch up for his par.
Good look, good out.
Not too bad from Corey, and Dan has an opportunity to cash a birdie here. just trickles in over the top of the tray.
And that shallow tray helps out this time, able to bounce up over top and get the lone birdie on the card, putting him to 3 down on this front 9. AJ with the par save. After going OB, Joel and Corey are going to take bogeys to finish out the front.
Fun day of disc golf here out at the FarmVille. And there you have it, folks.
Yeah, lots of green, but also lots of red. That swirling wind wreaking havoc a little bit on these players, putting them OB. Dan keeping it clean, though.
Yeah, and as you see, Michael Johansson and Scott Conway and Blake Poland, they've all jumped up the leaderboard. Taylor Raflowski from the first round is maintaining his spot at the top of the leaderboard. We have 9 more holes left this round. Make sure to subscribe to Gatekeeper Media on YouTube, and we will catch you with the back 9 soon. Again, I'm Brian Earhart. He's Nathan Queen. We are signing off.
We'll see you guys out there.